Hi guys, welcome to, I don't know what I want to call it. It's we're looking at Hellblade stuff. We're getting hyped for Hellblade 2 that comes out Wednesday. So I've gotten a lot of like their tweets. Are they still called that even though it's X now? Whatever, their posts, their videos, stuff I've gathered over the week because I put out something every single day for this month to get excited for this. And since I'm a big fan, I thought we could look at this together and get hyped together, and then, you know, I thought we could just look at shit. We're gonna start with post, I think. Which, if you follow my, what's it called now? I always just call it the Twitter. If you follow me on here, whatever this now is, you probably saw it, so I don't know if this might be old for some people. I just kind of skimmed stuff, and then the stuff I thought looked really interesting, I put it off to react with you guys. So we're gonna need some volume. So this is the photography, which I normally don't do photo mode in games. I think Ghost of Tsushima was probably the only one where I kind of dabbed in it a little bit, but I normally don't, but it looks cool. It's Hellblade, guys. Like, I'm excited for it. Why is there volume but still no volume? Whatever. Please, you can add your own. What? Dude, why? I mean, I know why, but that's not standard, is it? Oh no. Are you gonna make me want to use photo mode? That looks so good. Why has no one thought to add in your own light? And you can rotate them. What? Why? See, this is the thing. I wasn't gonna pull it up, but I think I'm gonna have to pull it up after this. I don't know if you guys saw it. They made an Xbox game. Yes, this is an Xbox game. They made an Xbox controller. And it looks like shit, which is why I believe it was Microsoft that made it and not, because look at the detail on this. Normally in photo mode, it's not that detailed. Like, that's crazy that you can add in extra lights. You can rotate your characters. Like, and there's like, yeah, there's filters in the other ones, but like that's so much detail. Like, that's crazy. So I wasn't gonna show this because I think it looks stupid as fuck, but here, we're gonna show this. And I am hating on this, but only because I believe this was Microsoft. This is supposed to be the Hellblade controller. I can make this controller in probably like a minute. Where this, you see this category for games? This is obviously the Fallout controller. Like that, obviously, Fallout. That, something I could make myself. Like even this, the Pride controller. Obviously, that's a Pride controller. This is a regular dumbass controller, because I can even change it. Like, ooh, and even that, what the frig does red have to do with Hellblade? Like, I get, like, hell, you know, is a thing, but if you look up Hellblade, like, and if you just look up, yes, leave, I don't care about the controller. If you look up the images, like, it's blue. Her face paint is blue. The symbol is blue. Like, you could have done these runes, which would look so cool. But also, I'm just gonna open up everything. So keep in mind what that controller looked like, okay? It's down here. Keep in mind what that controller looked like. If it had been this controller, I would have bought that. That looks cool. With all this, like, that looks cool. Of course, I would have loved the actual symbol in the middle, because that's on the games. Like, that's the main symbol is, you know, but they don't have that. They have it as a black and white controller, or a black and red controller, which I could literally make so fast. Like this, I could make this controller in a minute tops. Like, yeah, I know some people, like even this is controller, but a lot of people are like, yeah, it's a regular black and controller. Yeah, that can be made in the lab. So that's why I believe it was Microsoft, because you take, like, they put so much detail in photo mode. They put detail in the details of the game, like the landscape and all that. They put so much details in that. The audio, so that's why I believe this wasn't actually created by them, because this is lazy ass work. And like these people are saying, you can just make that. It's not anything special. Like, cause this would have been so dope if you had this. I prefer the rune one, but even this, it's like the only default you see is for Fallout. Yeah. So where the motion capture is so nuts, and it's something I would love to really play with, to learn how to do it, and just like this was so cool. If you guys haven't seen, I've done other reactions, and I watched this where this is the raft and how they built it and used it. So if you're like interested in behind the scenes stuff, I do have other videos on this, because like I said, I love Hellblade, so I've been like devouring everything they've been putting out. I mean, honestly, I kept all this stuff to react to, but like it's so cool. This is the company I want to work for. This I'm excited for is the audio, because the audio in the first game, so good. But I'm kind of dreading it because I don't have those good headphones anymore that I was using. Oh, good. I think they were like $20 on Amazon, but they were surround sound, so they were good for that. And like these I like are good, and I have the Sony, which I think would be better, but they're not like, I know you can't get true surround sound, but just like, I'm so looking forward to the audio. Like, I really hope they kept in like the voices, which I think they did, because that's the main part of her illness, is the voices talking. It's like, oh, it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited to like, just to hear it. Not even play it, but like to hear it. Okay, we're gonna, why is it important to have headphones?
My name is David Garcia.
Hopefully any headphones will do.
And I'm the audio director here at Ninja Theory. With the launch...
Wait, dude, sorry. Do you have, oh, thank God. Sorry, your accent's a little...
Hi everyone, my name is David Garcia.
Stop your damn
and
scratching.
I'm the audio director here at Ninja Theory. With the launch of our game Senua Saga Hellblade 2 on the 21st of May, I just wanted to send a message to remind that the best way to experience our game, to take full advantage of binaural audio and be immersed in Senua's world, is wearing headphones. Just any headphone. This is a binaural microphone. It's a way of recording audio with its first studies and uses dating back to 1792. What it does is to give listeners a realistic impression of
Go back.
First studies.
It was used back in 1792?
And uses dating back to 1792.
This seems like such like new technology.
What it does is to give listeners a realistic impression of 3D space. In Saga, if you wear headphones, you will experience the world of Senua in this way.
Is that why you sound like you're on the top of my head? You sound so muffled.
Hi everyone.
I'm so excited. The audio is gonna be, ooh, not the music, the audio, like it's gonna sound so good. I'm so hyped for this.
My name is Aldis Amah and I play Astrior in Hellblade 2.
Ooh, this looks so good.
What I like or find the most interesting thing about Astrior is that she is a leader of a clan, and she feels like an imposter. This is not something that she envisioned for herself. It's not something that she wanted necessarily, but this is a position that was kind of forced upon her. My favorite part about the shooting process was probably watching the stunt actors do incredible stuff that we get to portray. I mean, it's not me who's doing all the amazing stunt acting, but that's going to be the character that I'm portraying, and I'm so blown away by what I guess we created together, and I'm very thankful. Just watching them was absolutely, I was in awe.
When it all went to hell, people started coming to us.
This looks so good.
There was so much playfulness, so much openness. We could, try out anything we wanted, really, within the script, of course. And there was just so much trust. So I have to say, there's not a specific day that was more or less
Did she have
my
a
favorite.
Bamboo stick?
Just the whole experience is always going to be very, very close to my heart.
Oh, I'm so glad they did
so
this. Wait, I just have to. What she does? Oh, it must be like having like a fighting scene. This is what I love. Okay, hold on. This is what I love. This is what I enjoyed so much about Saints Row. I know, complete different game. The newest one that came out. By the way, fabulous game. Absolutely love it. I think it's really good. It's not as silly as the other Saints Rows, but it's still a really good addition to the franchise. And I do hope they continue on because they kind of rebooted it, so I hope they continue on with that. But anyways, what I liked about it was seeing is because they did meet the cast, which I thought was so cool because a lot of them don't do it. And like I know Senua because like I follow her because of the first game, which I really liked, but I don't really know any of the other actors, the other actresses. But like I could have looked it up myself, but like this I just like because it's like right here. This is we're proud. Here are the actors that you will see. So like I'm so glad they did this because it's so. I just love it.
My name is Gudmundur Thorvaldsson, and I play Fargrimr in Hellblade 2.
Alright, so this is a new person, then, right? As well.
Fargrimr is that he's a spiritual guy. He knows that there is more to this world.
I wonder how, sorry, I know you're talking, I wonder how bad this, like, because these lights here, like, I have them on low, but even still, like, after a while, I get a headache, because it's just constant light in your face. So I wonder how bad this hurts, because that looks, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it's below his eye line, but still, that's, like, pointing up like that. I wonder if they get headaches afterwards. Sorry, weird curiosity.
He takes good
Why? Oh, there we go.
care of his people. He is willing to sacrifice whatever it takes. Do we have anything in common with Fargrimr? Yes. I mean, I'm Icelandic and I'm a spiritual guy, and so that's how I connect to Fargrimr.
I think this is going to be so good.
With the Ninja Theory team. They're very, very passionate, and still the atmosphere was always chilled, never rushed. Always time for another take, always looking for the best results. My favorite memory from this shooting period has to be when we had Hiya there with us. Melina and Rachel decided to throw a birthday party. And that party was unforgettable because the Hiya threw us into all kinds of Viking games. However dark it seemed, I always found a ray of light. I think people will be spellbound by this game.
I hope so.
Very
I'm like,
very dramatic.
I could see myself doing this game in just one sitting.
Really, really exciting.
The one thing I hate is that the 21st is a Wednesday. So I have work in the morning, I have a doctor's I have to go to, and then I'll probably have homework, so I probably won't even able to play it the day it launches, which I'm like, come on. This is one of those games, like, I would take the day off. I know, like, that seems so stupid, but this is one of the games that I'm like, I'm so hyped for it. Like, it's almost ridiculous, but also I'm like, man.
Hi, I'm Chris O'Reilly, and I play Thorgestr in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I'd say two things that me and Thorgestr have in common. We're both stubborn, and we're both fiercely loyal. I think those are two things we definitely share. My favourite moment from the shoot is so hard to encapsulate and put into like one thing. If I had to choose, it would probably be day one of the cinematic shoot. So I come in, obviously, first day of the cinematic shoot, really excited, and then all of my friends from Lucky 13 Action are there. But secondly, yeah, just like such a good day. And sort of a really nice benchmark to sort of set the cinematic shoots off with. My favourite thing about my character is probably his journey, mentally and physically, the way that his journey sort of defines him and moulds him.
Oh, I think this is going to be so good.
Which is a lot harder than it might sound. Dark, visceral, and stunning. They are the three. Dark and visceral definitely being like the storyline. Stunning, just being the amazing work that these guys have done on it. Like, I have not seen anything like this before.
Oh, I'm so excited! This is gonna be so good. I know people like, of course, with anything, what was I saying? Oh, like with anything, there's always the negative comments that come, and I've been seeing a lot of people like just dissing on the first game and being like, oh, it was crap and all this, and I'm like, I loved it, and that's all I care about. Like, hi, Pips. What you doing, baby boy?
About Senua is that she is very resilient, that she has courage, and at the same time she also has a lot of empathy. Hi, my name is Melina Juergens and I play Senua in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Senua and I have quite a lot in common because I was there from the beginning of the project, which means I was able to help shape the character that I was portraying. We both have been going through a rough time. I struggle with mental health issues, so does she. But we never give up, we always keep pushing through and we just don't stop fighting. Working on the new motion capture stage here at Ninja Theory has been a completely different experience to Hellblade 1 for me, because before we just had a little meeting room in our old office where we would shoot mocap, and now we have a customized giant mocap.
I wonder, sorry, I know what she's talking about. I wonder what the difference is, because like this one has the light, and this one, it kind of just looks like, I don't know, like their cameras. I wonder if there's a difference in between, I guess they're both mocaps, but I wonder if there's a difference
mocap, and now we have a customized giant mocap stage. We have monitors, we have projectors where we can project the environment onto the floor, and also we have the space to do our own stunts. We have just a lot more options than in our old office space, which has been really, really cool. One of my favorite memories of shooting Saga is a week where we had our stunt team in, and they brought some
I think that would have been
hung this
not having played the game because it's not out. This, I always see it, I'm like, that would be so friggin' fun. I think this probably would have been my favorite part. If I was in this, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, the boat scene.
Boat from our mocap stage that we got to go on to shoot the intro for Saga. If I had to describe...
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that last time. It looks like her hands are bound, the way she's like moving them.
Stage that we got to go on to shoot the intro for Saga. If I had to describe Senua's Saga in 3...
Although, it could be she's paddling too, depending on how big, like, if that boat is actually, you know, the size of what it is. Or half the size of what it is, you know.
3 words, I would say intense, unique, and immersive.
Woohoo! I'm so excited! What are you doing? You want to come here? You want some pets? You want some petty
I'm
pets?
Dom Matthews, studio head here at Ninja Theory in Cambridge, UK. We're now in the final months of development on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and the team is working hard to bring you an unforgettable journey into Senua's unique world and her battle for survival, where we have once again combined high fidelity and immersive presentation with a shorter, narrative-led experience that focuses on the things that we really care about.
I hope it's not too short though, because don't be too short. There is such a thing as a too short game. This looks so good. What's the situation? I want to know what the situation
Senua
is.
is back with a new quest. She wants to stop the Vikings who raided her village right at their source, in Iceland. But not just her quest has changed. Senua herself has grown since the first Hellblade. She's made peace with her past and is no longer in such fear of her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique perspective, and others who will reject it.
Little by little, this settlement became my tribe.
I'm so excited to meet the new people.
In the game, Senua arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaving her people. In the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history as we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top.
Sorry,
in the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history
as she was in the script writer, performance capture director.
So we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top. Senua will face up to giants who have plunged the land into chaos, and which in turn has seen the rise of the Juergens, a violent threat that has swept through the settlements that she'll discover.
Ooh.
Senua will make new enemies and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover, along with us, how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Senua is a Celtic warrior who experiences psychosis, seeing things that other people don't, hearing voices, and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once again worked closely with Professor Paul Fletcher at the University of Cambridge, as well as people with lived experience of psychosis.
See, this is what I love about it, because there's a lot, like, when you look at, I don't know, Reddit is the place I was reading this stuff, but a lot of people that have this illness or have, like, similar mental illness or just have mental illness themselves, a lot of them are saying that this, in which I agree, they portrayed it, what? Yes, I know I'm doing that hand motion. Can you stop freaking out? Sorry, my camera doesn't like when I do hand motions anymore. I should probably just turn that all off. Focus, Rose. They were saying how this one, like, this game, they don't make a joke of the mental illness. It's not mockery. It's not done in, like, a comic relief type of way. It's not, you know, it's done very well to where it shows it, like, truthfully, which is what I really like, because this is kind of the only, and count it, there's millions and millions of games out there, so it's possible I just never found one, but I have never found one that has done a good job with the mental illness that isn't like a stereotypic joke, dream, drugs, something like that, you know? Like, I feel like a lot of horror games, even though they have mental illness in it, it's more of a, like, just an excuse to have the scary stuff happen instead of actually being a real thing, which, that, not all of them, I'm just saying from what I have seen, and I'm no means the expert in it, but just from what I've seen, it's like stuff, and so, like, they do such a good job, and that's why I really, really like this game, because it just, the attention to detail is what, like, is so, I think, unique about it. We're gonna stop talking. We're gonna finish watching this.
Players will find themselves traversing beautiful and hostile environments, seeking answers from patterns and signs that Senua sees in her own unique way, and battling through encounters with enemies that will push Senua to her limits.
I wonder if we're still gonna have the stories from the rooms.
On Saga, we've taken everything to the next level. With a new motion capture space, a bigger stage team, a stunt crew, and a new cast.
We spent a lot of time planning the motion capture shoots, thinking of what events would be good to bring into this fight. Like, how can we make this fight feel different from the previous fight? We have all new combat for the sequel.
Ooh.
One of our key goals was the ability
motion,
to actually tell a story throughout it.
Oh.
It does feel very different from the first game, but it's very brutal and you're very invested in it. Senua isn't a superhero, she's fighting for survival, and we want the player to feel her struggle in every step of her journey. We want the player to always feel like they just scraped through, just survived it.
I hope they keep, with the not the survival, with the combat, I hope they keep the slow motion because I love that. But also, I hope there's some, I don't know, element somewhere of what they had with the hand. In the first game, they had like this corruption that was going up her hand, and every time you died, it came up a little bit more. And it's, what they said in the beginning is that once it gets to your head, it's like game over, which they didn't actually do, which I think is a very missed opportunity. I would have loved that. Even if I had to start the game over, I think that would have been such a cool way to, and it's one of those things where they could have had it as like an option in the menu to be like, do you actually want this? Yes or no? Because I think that would have been really cool. But it kind of just got up to a point and then it just kind of like stopped. But I hope they have something in that, because that like that was also one of my favorite things about that game, is watching like the corruption and the rot go up the arms. So I hope they have something like that in here. Maybe not that, because I don't think it would fit the story they're trying to tell now, but maybe there's like a different element, but kind of have that same like theme.
Knows Senua better than anyone, better than I do. Her instincts are amazing, and she really doesn't need much help from me. On stage, our main focus is storytelling. So I get to watch the actors and see all the beautiful expressions on their faces. and then I have to wait a little while, and then I get to see that all again in-game, in costume, on location, everything. It's
Her job
a
seems
great
so fun.
experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified in achieving a deep level of immersion to help suspend your disbelief
so
and pull you
beautiful.
into Senua's story. We were lucky enough to do a few reference gathering trips in Iceland. You have to be there. The sense of scale, everything is incredible. And you see a scene or you see a small section of the game and you're like, yeah, that works, that's amazing.
Senua experiences reality differently,
Oh, sorry. Audio director, okay.
and a part of this manifests in the voices she hears.
She will collapse.
Yes, I love the
These
voices.
voices come to life through binaural audio, which provides a good representation of this type of auditory hallucinations. As we focus in immersion, binaural audio is perfect for this because through headphones, you surround yourself in a three-dimensional space. In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through a spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool.
What will we do to us?
I hope it
Music
doesn't take
is a strange
away.
language in
I
the
hope it doesn't take away the effect of the voices, because that was one thing that. Did you react to my okay? Sorry, the camera's blinking at me. It was. I'm tired. Okay. It was one of the things that why the voices were so powerful is because they were all sudden everywhere. There was a voice over here. There was a voice over here. Sometimes they were in both ears. And that's why they were so powerful, because it was such an audio difference from the rest of the game. So I hope, like, this, it sounds cool that, like, the music and the environment will have that effect. But also, I hope it doesn't take away how, like, powerful the voices were. Hopefully they still have that impact. Like, oh my God, you're hearing voices everywhere.
The sense that it speaks to our emotions fast and deep is not only about quality, it's about personality. So when you listen to Hellblade, you know it's Hellblade. On the music, we are working with Heilung, which for me is a personal privilege because I really admire them.
Yes, I love this band. Or group, or whatever you want to call it. It's still a band, isn't it?
It really connects with her game and
I love
elevates
these
it to
guys.
something really special.
Since the first game, I looked it up. I'm like, who did the music? And I found them, and I'm like, yes! I've listened to them so much.
We are also working with a heavy metal singer, throat singers, and our very own Furies. They sing so beautiful, and we add that binaural touch of music. So this all creates a very
That looks like, this is why I really wanted to get into game development too, because like every aspect of the game just looks so fun to do. Like that recording, like I'm gonna walk around. Oh my God, I bet that makes it hard to read the script, but I'm like, oh man, it looks so fun.
Immersive and a very special and unique experience.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech. And that's our aim in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, is to not only see where Senua goes next, but to deliver something really meaningful for our players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
Well, I don't want to sound cheesy, but in a way I'm Senua, right? She exists and doesn't. It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua, and we are creating this character that grows and grows and grows and grows and keep growing and keep changing. So that makes it real.
I'm so proud of the love, care, and passion our team here at Ninja Theory are putting into Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Our hope is to not only create a game that is great to play, but to craft an experience that leaves you thinking and feeling. From our combat gameplay through to our action set pieces, from our cinematic scenes to our puzzle solving, everything is crafted in service of Senua's journey, a journey that you can embark on May 21st.
So excited! Woohoo!
In Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, we want you to believe in our cast of characters. By capturing the likeness of real actors and handcrafting costumes using traditional techniques, we'll achieve a level of realism that will further immerse you in our story. This is no simple task, and has seen us push the boundaries of realism in video game characters, starting with Senua.
My name is Dan Crossland, and I'm the character art director here at Ninja Theory. A character like Senua is comprised of many components, such as anatomy scans, facial scans and rigs, physical costume creation, hair and makeup creation. Most elements are created physically, so that it gives us a good blueprint and ground truth model that we can digitize later.
That looks
Much like
so
film and
good.
TV, we're now creating real-life costumes that are scanned into the game. These are crafted with expert costume designers, using traditional materials and techniques accurate to the time period, to achieve a level of realism and detail that simply wouldn't be possible using purely digital techniques.
Oh, that's cool. So you make it first and then like you scan it
From
into
the first game, I didn't really feel like I recognized myself that much because I'm wearing all this face paint and dreadlocks and costume, and that's not how I walk around in real life. And also because the costume was modeled, it wasn't physically made, so I never actually got to wear it. Whereas this time around for Saga, we're actually physically making the costume, doing the hair, doing the makeup, so I'm getting way more attached to the character, and I can walk around in the costume, and like it's really, really cool.
The main reason to create a costume physically is so that we can scan the actor playing the character within the costume. We want the costume to fit the body correctly and have the weighting and compression in the right places. And we want to feel the density of those fabrics and how they
That's
fold and
smart. I
interact
mean, yeah, that
while
would be a
moving.
really good way
We
to
wanted
do it
put-
instead of being like kind of guessing at the physics, like how it actually like how does cloth actually move? Because you already have to look at like references for that. So that's smart. Like if you have it, the actor in the costume moving and doing what you want, like that like cuts down your work.
For Senua to be functional and support her journey. As a player, you want to get behind her trials and key moments to believe in her struggle.
It looks so good. I'm
Dan
so
would give
excited
me
for
an
this.
initial drawing. Then we would have a meeting about breaking it down, you know, so he usually just gives me sort
Designer,
of like one angle.
maker.
You know, so
Okay.
sometimes I'm not aware of what's on the back, sides and stuff like this. So we'll break down what the costume is, how many pieces is in there. Then I'll go away and I make a toile, so that's just like a mock version, starting point basically. Then we'll do one fitting. Things come to life when we start using the materials that he's after. Then from there I will make I'll go straight into making the initial costume. We have one last fitting, and then from there it's like breakdown mode. So this is the most exciting bit before we go to scan. We'll break the
What is
costume
that?
down, meaning basically we're just making
Is
it
that just like
old
black
and
dye?
worn and sort of, you know, as that's been in a fight, or create these sort of like erosion lines, and also work on the colour a little bit more.
So she did that
In
all
my
by
studios,
herself?
there are a lot of other artists, so I mean to take the opportunity to work with other designers, it's sort of a
Oh, no,
given, really.
okay.
I reached out to a weaver at my workshop called Francesca Miotti. She created the most beautiful woven. She was using hemp shoot and nettle
that looks
from the
so
side
good.
panels of Mel's outfit, and it is just stunning. It's so beautiful to work with as well.
When creating Senua's hair for Hellblade 2, we did various shoots where we tried to use Mel's hair, but in the end we had to mat it up, and we chose to add on an air weave, which we added ash and pigment to.
We're using all sorts of like putty and paste and maybe some dirt as well, so charcoals, to create texture. And then from that, we sort of get a little bit closer to the next session of creating the hair.
They actually did that in her hair? That would suck to have to clean every day. Or however
In
often
Hellblade
you had to put on the
Sacrifice, we partnered
costume.
with our friends at 3 Lateral to bring Senua to life. It was natural then that we would rekindle this partnership to explore just how far we could push Senua's believability once again.
The idea was to push the frontiers of digital humans and to bring them as close as possible to photorealism, while also experimenting or exploring new cinematic techniques. The closer we reach photorealism, the deeper we go into the science of human anatomy, the science of physics, the science of simulation, and even the science of human perception. Just to illustrate, a few years back when we were scanning Melina, we captured a gigabyte or so of data in order to build her digital replica. Nowadays, we are
It all
capturing
looks so
terabytes of
good.
data.
I know I should be commentary, but one, I don't want to talk over them, and two, I am like so just I'm absorbed. You know what? This is one of the videos. I don't give a shit if you guys like it or not. I am having a blast looking at all this stuff.
When we look to create a digital double character, we need two things: great data and amazing runtime systems to recreate the performance from the stage. The way we go about this is to use 4D scanning. You can think about 4D scanning as an extension of 3D scanning. 3D scanning involves taking a large number of photos of an actor, all taken simultaneously from a variety of angles. Using this data, we can reconstruct
How many cameras is that? That is nuts! They'll probably have to be the same camera too to get the same image and the same lens. No, these ones look like that's a different lens than what that is. That is crazy. Being a photographer, I know how much a camera costs and the lenses and like just the amount of money. I'm like, there is so much just in that one room. That is nuts.
All taken simultaneously from a variety of angles. Using this data, we can reconstruct a very accurate 3D model of the actor using a process called photogrammetry. Capturing 4D data involves the same process, but instead of photos, we use video. Once we have all this data, we can use it to create a set of blend shapes, a way of deforming the underlying mesh in a section of the face, and also a machine learning system that we can use at runtime to produce an incredibly realistic result. We use 3Lateral for this work because they're world leaders in creating real-time digital doubles, and we have a fantastic, long-standing relationship with them.
Our focus on crafting believability, as you've seen with Senua, will be extended to our principal cast in Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. Doing so takes a lot of hard work, problem solving, and time. But the reward is the connection that we hope you will build with our characters.
We're trying to immerse the player in Senua's world, and part of that is trying to create all aspects of the game so that they are believable. Making them in real life takes a lot more effort, for sure, but it hopefully makes everything more real for the player. To me, Senua's story in many ways is relatable to us now more than ever. She's a complex character with many layers, and for me, being able to work on a character like Senua is both a challenge, but greatly rewarding, especially when you see how the entire team brings her story to life.
That's so crazy. It's one of those things where, so I like watching behind the stuff, especially on like movies and games that I find really interesting. And so it's like The Hobbit. When I was watching behind the scenes, like the scene where what is he? He's the mayor of the fish town and the hall that he's in. Like, there's so much detail in it, and you don't get to see everything, but it's one of those where, like, if the detail was missing, you would notice, and you'd be like, something's off, you know? But because the fact is there, and, like, if nobody has seen behind the scenes of that movie, you should go watch it, because one, it's fascinating. Two, the amount of shit that just went into that one room. Like, there's stuff that wasn't even in the scene that they created and made, and it's like, what? But it's like, it's one of those things where if it wasn't there, it would be off. You wouldn't know why or what, but you would know.
Hi, I'm Don Matthews and welcome to Ninja Theory. Today we're going to be telling you about Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 and what it means to us as a studio.
I guess I got the red from the names. Sorry, I'm thinking about the controller
again. I worked
again.
through the first game and really was blown away by the response to it. I want to make something that the fans of the first game really appreciate and love as much as they did Hellblade 1. So it's very personal for me to get this right and just make the best experience I possibly can.
Saga means the world to me. Like, I've been doing this project for loads of years, and the journey of Senua is my journey.
Hellblade was successful because we managed to tell a story about a character that players empathised with. It was a really interesting project to work on, to try and bring some of those lived experiences to life visually, and I think players connected with that, and it felt different to other games that were out there. I also think people are going to be surprised by the graphical quality we're trying to achieve in this. It's a big step up for us.
Real big difference, I think, between this game and the first game is that we're opening up the kinds of delusion and psychosis that we're exploring. The first one was very much about presenting Senua's point of view there, but in the second game we're going to move into how psychosis and delusion operate on a more grand level, on a societal level, in fact, and that's been really interesting to tackle. And I think it's a really important theme.
Hellblade ultimately tells the
I'm
story
gonna love
of
that.
Senua,
That's so
and
cool.
Senua
I
is
didn't
a
even
person.
think about that they could open that up more. Oh, I'm excited for that now. I mean, I'm excited for the whole thing, but that scene.
Who experiences psychosis.
Yes, please. All of it, yes.
And in Hellblade 1, Senua was understanding those experiences for the first time, much like our players. She was coming to terms with the voices that she hears, the unique visions that she has, and the beliefs that only she has about the world around her. In Hellblade 2, those experiences haven't gone away, but Senua has a different relationship with them. She's no longer submissive to them, and the balance of power has changed. So
I didn't
she still
think
hears
about
voices,
that
she still
either.
has visions, she still has unique beliefs. In Saga, we're really beginning to understand how Senua can use her unique and outside perspective to her advantage, and how she starts to be valued for that different take that she has.
In Saga, we are taking Senua to settlement era Iceland. So at this time in Iceland's history, it had been colonized by settlers from Norway and Denmark. A lot of people who had been Vikings at one point and had taken this opportunity to kind of find a new home in Iceland, carve out a piece of the land for themselves. All the locations you'll see are real places in Iceland. We've been there, we've photographed them, and then we've recreated them as accurately as possible. Overlaid on top of that, we've put our spin on Senua's journey through this space. So we're kind of taking Iceland's history up to a point and being as faithful as possible, and then from that point onward, we're introducing some more fictional elements.
Although we've got a bigger budget for Saga and a lot more resource, we've got brand new studio, new mocap space, I think we're still trying to come up with creative ways of doing things. We're not just relying on, we've got more people and more budget. It's how do we do something with the resources we now have that is meaningful and isn't just a bigger, better version. We want to keep that philosophy from how we made the first.
Sorry, I love this, that he's using the blueprints, just because this is so much easier. Like this, I can understand and can do so much in this, because it's not coding, it's all there already. You want to make your character jump? In there. You want to make your character walk? In there. You want to make your character spin around? It's in there. Like this, you want to have a time event, like cannons firing. You can do that without having to have like so much knowledge. And that's why I love this program. This is Unreal Engine. I love this program so much more than Unity. And I really, like, I see the, like, I don't know, like the potential, the usefulness of knowing both softwares, but like this one to me is just easier to use. In Unity, like I said, I have such a hard time with coding. One, just because I don't know it off the top of my head. Two, like a lot of the scripts don't play well with other scripts. So if you're trying to take a script from the internet, like watching a YouTube tutorial about how to make a portal, like I tried to do, and then you do it, and then it's like, oh, this doesn't play with whatever error message you get. Well, if you don't know how to read that error message and what the fuck it's talking about, it's pointless. Which, that's probably more me, but like Unity seems like it's more for like advanced people, to where this, it's laid out very clear. You want walking, you type in walking, and it pops up. And then you plug it in, and like even this, like it looks complicated, like down here, because all the wires going everywhere. But it's actually like, it's so easy to do. And I just love as a studio that you're using Blueprint. I'm sure they probably use coding too, but I love that you're using Blueprint. I just have to say that.
From how we made the first game, moving into this one.
To me, Saga is everything. It's defining for us as a studio, and it's defining for me as a studio head. And I look forward to that moment, that day when we give players the opportunity to experience Senua's journey, and we will do everything in our power to make that as meaningful as we can and to achieve that magic that we've achieved before.
I'm so excited!
And I work for Ninja Theory, and I've been their video editor, their photographer, and now also their actress. Well, I started 2012, where I was asked to do behind-the-scenes photography for Devil May Cry. And then I evolved into being the video editor as well. I've done all the DMC trailers, and then moved on to doing all the Hellblade trailers and all the dev diaries that you can see on YouTube, the behind the scenes. And then
yeah, they just kept asking me if I could be a stand-in for their like technical experiments. And yeah, at some point the director was like, could you just act out the scene for us? And I was like, not really, like I'm not an actress and I don't know how to act. And he was like, just give it a try, please. And then I did it, and they were like blown away and thought I had some potential to do the actual job, yeah. I found it quite hard because I'm not used to being in front of the camera, because my whole life I've always worked behind the camera as a photographer or a video editor. Also, I was quite introverted and shy, and I found it really hard to come out of my shell and perform in front of people. So I think that's why my first ever performance was a bit over-dramatic, because I was just so nervous that I was just, yeah, I was shouting a lot, but they really liked it. But yeah, it was quite dramatic. Yeah, so we've decided to build an in-house motion capture studio in our meeting room, which like some people were quite annoyed about because the meeting room was always busy. But we used like things from IKEA, like wardrobe poles, and screwed the cameras onto the poles, and ordered like lights from Amazon, and we just made use of it a lot, like because it was in-house. Like sometimes we would shoot stuff once a week at least, and just do like lots of pickup scenes, and we were very flexible having the studio in-house. I don't really have anything to compare it to, so it's hard to tell, but I found it quite cool that it was so flexible, because I'm not an experienced actress, and if I got something wrong, I easily had the chance to just do it again the next day if I felt like it, because it was not a big deal. Like we didn't have to go down to London and hire an entire studio for a day only because I got something wrong and I didn't feel like, or felt like I needed to repeat something, so we could just easily do that. The challenges were obviously the mental health side of things, so the character suffers from voice hearing and seeing visions, and we worked closely with a neuroscientist called Dr. Professor Paul Fletcher, and then some people that have experience with seeing visions and hearing voices. So we had meetings with them, and they told me what it feels like, and I had some lectures by the professor as well. So it was really interesting to understand the human brain a bit more and learn about that. And then, yeah, playing the character was quite challenging because it's a big responsibility to portray mental health. And I have my own experiences with it as well. Like my father had psychosis, and I suffer from quite a lot of anxiety myself. So it wasn't so hard for me to connect with the character because I know it from my own life. But yeah, it was just a big responsibility on my shoulders to get it right, because you don't want to upset anyone that has told you their personal stories, you know. I kind of often just spent some time alone in a room and just tried different variations of how I would play the scene. And then on other days, I would just walk in and do it without even rehearsing it. So it always depended on like my mood, I guess. Like sometimes I would just not even read the script, I would just improvise. And sometimes if I had a sad day, I would ask if we could play a slightly more sad scene today. And if I felt a bit more energetic, I asked if we could do something a bit more like a fight scene.
That makes sense, because
so
they got
like method acting,
fake them,
I guess that's what you call it. And yeah, just taking my own life experiences and my own like traumas I've had in my life, for example, and then connecting them with the character and bringing them out. So if I was crying in Hellblade, like if Senua is crying, then I was actually crying as well. It wasn't just played, you know, like it was real emotions. I guess the most surprising thing to me was how much patience you need to have, because sometimes if there's like a technical thing that isn't quite going well, you have to just sit there for like 8-9 hours and with people fiddling around on you.
Oh my god,
and I was quite surprised at just how it feels like you're constantly wearing this helmet and you've got lights in your face and you can't really see anything around you because you're always blinded by the lights. And then you have all your representations taped to your ears so you can't hear anyone. And you're basically cut out like from the you're cut off from the outside world. You can't talk to anyone. So sometimes people will be like, "Oh, Melina," and I'm like, "Is someone talking to me? I can't see and I can't hear because I'm like in this bubble." In this
oh man, that would suck,
bubble.
especially if you're waiting around for something to get
for
fixed.
Inspiration or anything. I just kind of tried to get my feral side out, I guess, like the wild side. Spend a lot of time like just in the forest and shouting in the forest, like trying out different scenes when I'm on my own, and yeah, I didn't really look for inspiration. I'm still the video editor, so I still continue doing all the video side of things. I really enjoy that.
Damn, you're the video editor and the actress at the same time?
If I'm doing acting, it's a thing that I do on the side, and then I also keep up my video editing. Difficult to give advice because I wasn't really planning on working in that industry. It kind of just happened. But I guess I would say just try and say yes a bit more often. Like if there's something challenging coming along and you think, oh, can I do it or can I not? Just do it. Like when they asked me if I wanted to do that job with the acting, I was like, well, I kind of want to, but I'm really scared. So I was thinking about saying no. But imagine if I had said no that day, like I would not be sitting here. So I think take your chances if they're there. Just try it, even if you're like scared about it. Yeah. I'm hoping that we will develop the real-time live stuff a bit more. That was really interesting when we did the performance where you could play a scene and it's straight away in the game. I think if we could explore that a bit more, that'd be really interesting.
Yes, that's so good. I love when you can't tell when the scene ends and when you play. There's been a couple times, I can't think of the game, but where like I've been sitting there and I'm like, oh, I could actually play now.
The character and its environment, and you know what it's going to look like straight away. You're not like just in a white room, but you can actually see straight away what it would be like. Yeah, that would be quite helpful, because sometimes you're like fighting a monster and you have no clue what they look like. But if you could actually see it straight away, that would be quite helpful.
Ragnarök was the doom of the gods. So many were killed. The sun itself grew dark. The entire earth fell into the sea. But wait, what is this? The earth rises from the sea again, newly covered in green. Waterfalls flow. Above, an eagle flies. Fish he wishes to find in mountain, lake, and stream. The surviving Aesir meet on the plain. They speak of the Midgard serpent, the monster who once encircled the world. And there they remember great things. There they remember the old runes of Odin. There in the grass they will find game pieces of gold that they owned in ancient times. How wondrous. Fields unsown will grow. All evils will be healed. Baldur will return, and the blind god Höth will return, he who killed Baldur. Those gods of the slain will dwell, well, in the homes of victory, Odin's houses. Would you know still more, or what? Then Heinir will make a choice. From the bunch of branches, bloody from sacrifice, he will pick a twig, and the sons of two brothers will dwell in the windy world. Many sons scattered far and wide. Would you know still more, or what? A hall will stand, fairer than the sun, thatched with gold, at a place called Gimle. The people living there are good. Joy they will enjoy all their lives.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our brand spanking new Ninja House in Cambridge. I wanted to give you an update on the work so far for Senua Saga Hellblade 2. What we're doing right now is building a good chunky slice of the game before we then move into full production to build out the rest. Hellblade was very special for us, and we didn't want to do a straight sequel. We wanted to do something extra special, and so we're making our lives as difficult as possible in that pursuit. The game is set in Iceland, 9th century Iceland, so we've been sending out art and audio teams out there, doing photography, photogrammetry, and combining it with satellite data to recreate large swathes of the landscape. On the character front, we're building real costumes, scanning them in. We're collaborating with Epic Games to bring you next-generation digital characters. On the combat front, we want it to be extra real and brutal. And so Melina, our main actress, has been training for 2 years, and all of our animators have undergone combat training. And so what you're going to see here is not a trailer, it's not a gameplay reveal, but rather a montage of the kind of work we've been up to. Hope you like it.
Will you follow me?
What the hell was that?
On this journey.
Ooh, that was cool.
By sea. By land. And dreams.
Ooh.
Through the valleys of despair. Over the mountains of rage. To the depths of fear in my mind.
That's cool. She kind of has like metal on her.
Weak. But I will show you what lies behind my eyes. With our swords
We will forge new stories to strike the gods that haunt us. We will embrace our suffering, soothe our scars of grief, and break their siege of our minds. They may see them as gods, but we will show them what lies behind our eyes.
Ooh. It looks so good. So good. Dude, that was crazy. Wait, go back. Probably not gonna be able to find it this way. It went by so quick.
To the depth of fear.
Yeah, like this. Wait, go back. God damn it. How do I do it frame by frame?
Over the mountains of rage. To the depth of...
Like that. That is so cool. It's like metal looking. Yeah, this. That is so cool looking. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Hey, Florida State. Woohoo!
Ultimately, what we were trying to do with our study is see if really the interactive nature of video games and being able to play as a character suffering from mental illness could spur people into holding less stigma against mental illness, and specifically those who have mental illness. If we can bring someone who is suffering from mental illness into someone's own self-image, or under their own self-umbrella, as it were, it becomes less likely for them to stigmatize. That was our hope, and that was ultimately what we found to a degree.
When we were thinking about choosing a game to sort of poke at the questions we were interested in, obviously we wanted something that had a portrayal of someone with a mental health illness or a mental health problem, and we chose Hellblade because of how thoughtful it seemed like that portrayal was with Senua.
It's just one of the best representations of mental illness that exists in video games, so it was an absolute no-brainer. I don't struggle with Psychosis, but being able to like embody and like get in Senua's head for an adventure through Helheim, like, oh, okay, I can see a little bit of this. So this is what it might be a little bit like. So I can maybe empathize with other people a bit more. So anything that can engender more empathy towards more people, I think, is a universally good thing.
Our two conditions were we would have people come in, we would give them a little spiel about what they would be doing, and then they would play the game for 45 minutes, and then they would take these measures, answer these questions, sort of an exit survey after playing the game that would measure them on all these variables that we were interested in. And the second condition was people would just come in and they would watch footage of those who had previously played the game. Two big variables that we thought would lead to the reduction of stigma and the reduction for desire.
Okay, so one group played the game, and then one group watched that other group play? Did I understand that right?
And social distance, transportation and identification. And transportation is this idea that when you are playing a game, all your cognitive resources are so involved in the world of the game or the film or the book that you feel like you are actually in that world. Transportation can lead to
if it's done well, yes,
means,
absolutely.
I am thinking as Senua would think when I'm playing the game, right? I'm so immersed in the world and I'm so involved in the character that I'm transported and I'm identifying with this person. And then that would then lead to a reduction in stigmatization of those with mental health illnesses and a reduction for social distance with those with mental health illnesses.
What we found is very promising. We found that those who played the video game seemed to ultimately desire less distance from those who are mentally ill, which was good. That is a big finding, I think. I just want portrayals of mental illness to be sensitive, accurate, at least from the study that we've done so far. They can have good pro-social impact, and why choose to do something damaging when you could do something good.
But you just did this all on paper, right? You didn't actually then take those people to meet the people, because it's easy to say something on paper like, oh yeah, I played this game so I could be more, but when you're actually faced with it, did it actually do anything? Because I think this is cool, and I agree that it could help reducing, but if it's all done on paper, I mean, you could very easily say, oh yeah, I'm gonna be more sensitive to these people. But when actually faced with it, that's a completely different thing. I mean, I know these are just like beginning studies, but your findings would be more, I think, impressive if they had actually been like face to face afterwards.
What we found was promising, and hopefully we get to do more of it.
I know most theories are just on let's say from the first one. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so it's been out for a while. If you haven't seen the first one, 1, you need to immediately go watch my videos on it. 2, what are you doing with your life? You're missing out on a great game. And 3, go play it yourself. What's wrong with you? But there's your warning that there's spoilers in here.
Senua finds a unique courage to keep pushing forwards on her quest, no matter what. She sees the world differently to those around her and faces challenges others would avoid. When driven so strongly by one powerful purpose, she will do anything to rid the world of the darkness. This is her life's mission, and she will not stop until she fulfills her quest.
My name is Eddie, and I have lived with psychosis for most of my life. To me, psychosis means living in a different reality, a reality that isn't shared with other people. Often living with psychosis is dark and miserable. While experiencing psychosis, I've got to hear the voice of God, the opposite, seen and spoken with angels, and been to hell itself. Recovery college and peer support really did turn my life around. I thought I would never get better, and yet here I am. The things that Senua experiences in Hellblade are very similar to some of my own experiences. She lives in a reality that other people might find hard to understand. She sees significance in symbols, in meeting people, in
Oh, so you're still gonna do that? That's cool. I really like that part of the game. Although sometimes it's hard to find them.
An altered state of reality, which would be very hard to understand without having experienced it yourself or playing Hellblade.
Lost souls who fought through hell to find us.
You were lost. I love his voice.
Are you ready for what you will find here?
It's difficult saying that it's an illness, that it's not real. Of course, to me, it is. And of course, to Senua, it is. And that's what's driving her to do these amazing feats of courage, to overcome pain and
Ooh,
exhaustion.
that's so claustrophobic. No,
do
thank you.
She knows she must.
I love the scars she has now.
Everything I've done.
They just look so good.
We've come so far, not far enough. Say it. You were ready to tell them.
In Senua Saga Hellblade 2, we tell the second part of the story of Senua, a Celtic warrior who, like Eddie, has experiences of psychosis, seeing the world in a unique way and existing in a reality unshared by others. At a surface level, this manifests for Senua in seeing things that others don't, hearing things that others don't, and having unique beliefs about the world.
My name's Paul Fletcher. I'm a psychiatrist and professor of neuroscience at the University of Cambridge, and I've been working with the Ninja Theory team on Hellblade and other projects for several years now. I am a clinical doctor, but have also added research and teaching to my role. And in all three areas, I'm especially interested in the human brain and how it strives to make sense of the world, which is complex and changing all the time.
Like a mirror. You can see.
Senua, like many people, experiences psychosis. Now, psychosis is not a diagnosis, although it is associated with a number of medical and psychiatric conditions. But ultimately, it's a loose description of a shift in one's experience of reality.
What are you doing?
There's something here. I need to find out what it is.
A person with psychosis might experience changes in their perceptions and their beliefs. For example, they might see or hear things that other people can't. And they might come to believe things that are quite uncharacteristic for them. For example, they might feel that somebody, perhaps somebody even very close to them, is intent on trying to harm them. Now, it's very important to remember that this is not just a vague feeling or an imagination. To the person, it feels like their reality, just as everything around me feels like my reality to me. I, like many people, feel that in order to even begin to understand psychosis, we have to start with thinking about how the brain works in general, how it makes sense of the world around it. And when we do that, we're repeatedly confronted with evidence that actually it doesn't just rely on the evidence of our senses, but it actually relies on what it already knows, on its predictions, its anticipations, and its expectations.
Your mind. Your voices.
Now that might seem like a defect. After all, why would we want to rely on what we already know rather than what the world is telling us? But if we did act simply as passive receivers, we would be completely swamped. We'd be like a newborn infant trying to make sense of the colours and shapes without any way of having a framework to try and understand those colours and shapes. Our senses are bombarded with information from the world that's rapid, it's intensive, it is noisy, ambiguous, unreliable. And if we were to try and make sense of that without imposing patterns and expectations, then it would be like trying to assemble a multidimensional jigsaw without knowing what the picture was on the box. Many of us think that the brain ultimately is an organ that makes predictions. It craves patterns and associations in order to make sense of the world. And without that, we are confronted with a feeling of uncertainty, of anxiety, of distress, even of fear.
This game looks so good. But also, the brain is so complicated. Like, the things that I do know about it is amazing, but also it's like, there's so much more to it. Like, we barely, I forget the exact points, but like, we only use like the smallest fraction of our brain. And it's like, could you imagine what we did if we were able to use all of it?
Where do these predictions come from? Many of them are actually embedded in the structure of our brain, probably wired there by evolution. Many of them come from our earliest experiences as babies, trying to make sense of this new world that we're born into. Many come from our early childhood experiences, from what we learn from others and how we interact with others, from our parents, our teachers, our friends. We all have a feeling that we're directly in contact with an objective reality, but it's probably the case that what we experience as our constructed model of the world is a blend of the evidence of our senses, but also what we are predicting or expecting from the world. So this blend exists in a very fine and delicate balance, and the weighting of that balance probably varies a great deal across different individuals. But crucially, this balance is what determines how we experience and interpret and act upon the world. And some of them are embedded in shared experiences with others, our society, our culture, our arts, even our religions and our mythologies. So for the most part, this works very well for us and enables us to make sense of the world, but it's also, being a delicate balance, it can be shifted, and it's very easy, even under the most normal day-to-day circumstances, to deviate from objective reality. A good example of this is the hollow mask illusion. All of us are familiar with a mask. We know that it depicts a face and that the inside is hollow. But when we see the mask rotating round and we see the hollow side, there is a deeper prediction, probably embedded in our brain, that facial features tend not to be hollow, that they stick out. And this deeper prediction can override our knowledge that the mask is hollow and make us actually perceive the face as sticking out at us. Despite what we know, the deeper predictions will override this.
Oh, wait a
So for me and many in
second.
my field, perceptual illusions like this, which are very common, are really interesting because they tell
That
us something
was
fundamentally
weird.
about how
Okay, the
brain,
first time
hollow mask
it was
illusion. All
hollow.
of us
And I don't know
are
if it's just
familiar
because
with
he
the mask.
said
We know
it.
that it depicts a face and that the inside is hollow. But when we see the mask rotating round and we see the hollow side, there is
Okay,
a
I
deeper
can't
prediction
unsee it now
illusion.
to where the
All of us are
inside
familiar
is
with the
actually.
mask. We know that it depicts a face and that the inside is.
Yeah, like this looks like it's sticking out, and I'm like, no, it's hollow. Wait, what? What the
hollow.
freak just
But
happened?
when we see the mask rotating round and we see the hollow side, there is a deeper prediction, probably embedded in our brain, that
The first
facial
time it went
features
around,
tend
it
not to
was
be hollow,
hollow.
they stick out. And this deeper
Afterwards,
prediction can override our knowledge that the
That-
mask is
that's
hollow and make
crazy.
us actually perceive the face as
like
sticking
this.
out.
This is sticking out, even though this is the hollow. That's nuts.
Yes, despite what we know,
What?
the deeper predictions
Our
will
brain
override
is
this.
so fucked.
So for me and many
That's
in my
not
field,
fucked, it's cool.
perceptual illusions like this, which are very common, are really interesting because they tell us something fundamentally about how the brain is making sense of reality using its predictions. But more than that, for me, it's very interesting because it begins to give us a sense of how psychosis might begin to emerge. Psychosis is this experience of an altered internal construction of one's reality. And it seems feasible that this is dependent upon this balance I've talked about between predictions and evidence. And it is probably the case that some people tend to weight their predictions more heavily. This, in many circumstances, is advantageous because it means that they can discern patterns and associations that perhaps other people can't. But if that balance was shifted further by different circumstances, then it may well be that they begin to construct a reality that doesn't accord with the world around them. What might cause that shift? Well, a number of things. It could be caused by stress, sleep deprivation. It could be caused by illness, neurochemical disturbances. It's also the case that our experience will change how we predict things. So a very profound experience, for example, of trauma, could powerfully change the way in which we make predictions about the world and shift us from this delicate balance into a state of psychosis. In the case of Senua, we know that from an early age she was able to discern patterns and associations that perhaps other people couldn't. And on top of that, her childhood and adolescence had a number of traumas in it. Her father was abusive and he accused her of being the cause of evil and darkness. Her mother, who had the same capabilities as she did, was actually sacrificed for the same reason. And in addition, her village was attacked by Vikings and her lover was brutally killed. And it's possible that all of these traumas would act on her natural tendencies to topple her into this psychotic experience that is depicted in Hellblade.
With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul.
Yeah, God, I hope they have something like that in the second game.
In Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, we find Senua discovering and understanding her experiences. They're relatively new to her, and the pain and torment feels at its most acute. Having travelled to a new place, with a mind full of her trauma and true stories of the Vikings, she embarks on a journey of coming to terms with what has happened in her life. Ultimately, rather than finding the unachievable certainty of rescuing Dillion, she achieves certainty in the realization that Dillion is gone forever. She learns to accept his death, and in turn, her experiences of psychosis.
Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of
I wonder if this, I never put that together. I kept on saying, oh man, the scars are so cool. I wonder if it's from this, because doesn't she have some like on her neck? I wonder if these become scars at the end of the game.
never leaves us.
That would be so cool. I'm gonna have to like pull it up to see.
In Senua Saga, we find Senua at a different place on her physical and mental journey. Empowered with the sense that she has overcome her own darkness, she's now compelled to follow a new quest, to save her people from that same darkness. You smell that?
He's here. Death is coming. Look at the bones. Death is coming. Look at the bones. That's going to be you. That's going to be everyone.
In Sacrifice,
so excited to fight the
is
giants.
acute and all-consuming. She
they're
is
so large. That's why I like Shadow of the Colossus. Those games where
her experiences. To some extent, she is enveloped and enslaved by the darkness. She cannot ignore her voices and visions. She's totally committed to the quest.
I wonder if they still. Sorry, I wonder if they still have that rod. Is that why? Because I noticed in one of the trailers. I don't know if it's in all of them, but she had a hand wrap. I wonder if underneath that is still like the rot from this game.
Within her altered reality. In Saga, there has been some resolution to this. There's no miracle recovery. She still experiences the voices and visions. She still has a changed reality. But the balance of power has shifted. She is the one who is able to be in control. She's able to resist and challenge the voices. She's able to make decisions that much more clearly reflect her own goals.
Senuas, would you give your life for these outsiders?
In my darkest hour, it was an outsider who saved me.
And in addition, in Saga, she is able to encompass the reality of others. She sees them for the constructions that they are, and she is able to interact with them. And I think that's a very powerful change and a very important area to explore.
They have lost everything.
In Saga, we've had the opportunity to explore the next phase of Senua's mental health journey. One where she's come to a place of understanding, but where she and us as creators have new challenges to overcome. Where Senua's belief system will clash with that of others. Her experiences will play out in the presence of people who don't share her perspective. And where she feels a new sense of power in being chosen for the quest, but also a new weakness, bowing underneath the weight of responsibility that sits on her shoulders.
It's cool. I forgot that her clan didn't accept her in the first one, so it's really cool. Like she's a leader now of her own clan. I wonder how that came apart.
In Saga, we have once again utilized binaural audio to bring Senua's voices to life. Her furies still travel with her, but their tone has changed this time. She continued to be haunted by her father, and she starts to feel the audio presence of Icelandic myth infecting her mind.
That scream, that voice, something dark, Senua. You need to go up there. No, let them see you coming. You need to find out. Let the monsters find you. You can do this, Senua.
To hear the world as Senua does, we spend time with people with lived experiences of psychosis, and also with Paul Fletcher. This made a strong basis of what it is to hear voices, what they say, how they sound, how they change or react to external stimulus. And this paired with all we learned from the first game, Hellblade Senua Sacrifice, led us to create Senua's own sonic version of reality. To me, it's a privilege to sit in a room to play our game, and as we progress, hear the comments, thoughts and suggestions. Each one provides a different perspective, and I find especially inspiring and humbling to hear from Eddie his own experiences. Especially, I find he has a way of putting very complex emotions, situations, in a very simple yet poetic way, and it's really inspiring for me when I'm thinking in Senua's journey. We use binaural audio to bring 3D space in the headphones. This allows to experience the voice hearing and other sounds with a physical sense. Also extremely important is the performance of the voices, and for that we have been collaborating with Helen and Abby, our Furies. They are the most prominent voices of Senua. The way we perform is important as well, allowing for freedom, movement...
Wait, is there only the two of them? I swear there are more. I mean, voice actors, they can probably change the way their voice sounds, but it definitely sounds like there's more than two.
Creative input from Helen and Abby, and also important to have with them conversation and spend time talking about the journey of our character. There is a lot of time going into experimentation, so every sound in the game is connected in some way with the emotion that Senua is experiencing as she travels through Iceland, from the sounds of the nature to some of the musical moments.
A sign.
Beyond of its uniqueness or not, I find that for me, something extremely important is to create a connection beyond the game. So in understanding Senua's own reality and going on a journey with her, I hope our players will understand better how people experience reality different, and in doing so, I feel we break those walls that keep us distant and lonely.
My brothers used to come here to practice fighting. Sneak out. Follow them.
For Saga, in order to bring Senua's experiences of
I'm so
hallucinations
excited
to
to meet
life,
this
it was
character.
very
She
important
looks
for us
so
to listen to people's
cool.
real lived experiences. It was then a case of thinking about how Senua's world and reality might look when faced with these types of examples. This would have been impossible without Paul Fletcher and amazing people like Eddie and Kathy, who've been so open and honest about what they have been and do go through on a day-to-day basis. I think it takes real strength to be able to talk about such personal things to a new group of people. On the visual side, we have lent into things like repeating fractal geometry shapes, cymatic patterns, with lighting and post-processing changes to all help reflect the current feelings of Senua. And hopefully, when combined with the audio and gameplay, the player will get a sense of what we are aiming to achieve.
No, this cannot happen again. You couldn't do anything. We have to stop it happening. Face it. You need to face it. Focus. You need to look at it.
In Sacrifice, we saw a story of Senua's suffering at the hands of her experiences. In Saga, we're telling a more nuanced story of the next step on her journey. One where she has found a greater balance, but where her experiences are just as strong. Where rather than being a victim to her experiences of psychosis, she is driven by them, on a path that only she sees.
Bringing sin with you.
Oh, I love his voice. I'm so excited for him too. I'm excited for all of it.
One thing that I find very exciting in Saga is that there's an attempt to explore something that is really neglected in my field, which is the experience of a dual reality that some people have. People who have had Senua's types of experience have spoken to me about this, feeling that they have their own reality, but they also recognise the reality that others experience, and it can be very confusing, it can be disorientating. And it's exciting to me that the game contains an explicit attempt to portray this experience of dual realities, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how people respond to that.
It's amazing what has been done and what's been portrayed. I think it's really difficult to turn words into what other people might be seeing, but I think I'm always blown away by what Ninja Theory come up with for their games, and I'm really stunned at the quality of the things that she sees and the sound of the voices that she has. I think they're pretty realistic.
She's getting closer. Yes, she can feel it.
I hope that the game will help people who maybe don't understand psychosis or don't know very much about it to start with. I think by experiencing some of what they will do in the game, I think it brings to life a little bit of what it's like to have psychosis, and I think hopefully people will learn from it.
Now I'm working as a peer support worker, and what that means is that in my case, in the job that I have in my role, it means that I go to see my people, to see my peers. We talk about how things have been, the way that Hellblade has captured the experience of psychosis is nothing like I've ever seen before in terms of its realism, in terms of its fairness to people like me.
I'm so excited. This is gonna be so good. Oh, this is why I love this company. Just all the all the work and like the details and how far they go. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. I'm so here for it. I'm just, Wednesday cannot come fast enough, and can I just skip Thursday? Can I just call out and just play this game, because I need to be here for this. I want to be here for this, and I can totally see myself, because I'm so excited, just like devouring it, just playing it all in one thing. Like this is gonna be so good. There it goes.
Senua, the outcast who became a warrior, who faced her demons and challenged the gods for her lover's soul, has accepted the voices, the furies, as part of herself. Just like her mother Galena, she was not like other people. She saw and heard the world differently. Her father Zinbel told her she was evil, tainted by the sin of her mother. Tormented and afraid, she retreated from the world. Until love broke through like the rays of a new dawn.
What an interesting way to retell the story.
She could live again.
Or recap the story.
He gave
not
light to
retell.
her mind and freed a warrior from her body. But the voice of her father stayed with her, reminding her of her curse. And when the plague came to her land, the people blamed Senua. she took her darkness with her, banishing herself to the wilds. So she was not there when the Northmen massacred her people and sacrificed Dillion to the god of hell. Senua's torment was so deep that the world around her fell away. She took the head of her beloved, the vessel of his soul, and vowed to go to hell herself to save him. Through mist-shrouded horrors, she fought to find the secret path that would lead her to the very gates of hell.
I love the way they're telling the story
The
right
way was
now.
marked
Especially with
by
the images.
fire and
It's
illusion.
so good.
Senua had to fight the gods that guarded these paths and stave off the rot which threatened to consume her mind and end her life. Only conquest could open the gates. Only blood would bring her face to face with Hela. Face to face with defeat. Once again, Senua was engulfed in darkness, lost in a maze of misery and confusion. Until Dillion's voice led her to the promise of victory. A sword that could kill a god. To win the sword, Senua would drown in her darkest memories, pulling at the shards lodged in flesh, mind, and soul. She pressed deeper into the underworld, resisting its grasping hands and deafening cries, until she found her prize before the guardian of Hell's gates. Senua released her rage, a fury that could not be stopped, not by savage jaws, not by waves of warriors, not
So
by the pull of
cool.
death itself. In defeat and desperation, Senua begged for her beloved's release. But a sacrifice must be made, and burdens cast away. Senua's fate was never in the hands of the gods, but in her own. Only she could choose, out of love, to live,
That is
to go
so
on.
cool.
and to take us with her.
That is so cool. What a way to do to recap the story. All right, that's all I have to show you. I'm sure I missed a lot of stuff because there's different channels that cover this. There's other stuff, but this is like all I could find. This was a really long video. It was 2 hours. I'm sorry. I'm excited. Most of it was quiet, but then we just had to enjoy what we were seeing, and I'm here for it. I'm so, like, guys, you don't, like, I've never been so hyped for a game. Like, I'm so excited. It looks so good. I'm so here for it. And I hope you guys like this video. Probably not, but I hope you like this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming along with me on this 2-hour journey that we had. If you're excited for Hellblade, let me know. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later.